Hey, property managers, are we dropping the ball on great service? Well, Airbnb's co hosts are showing up with a solid 4.86 guest review rating, beating the 4.62 average for bigger property managers like us. And if they are delivering at that level for a smaller commission, why wouldn't homeowners go with them instead? Airbnb's co host network may be small now, with just 10,000 members, but it could be the shakeup we all need to watch. Yet, after digging into Airbnb's co host network, I see a real growth opportunity if you are up for some adapting. Today, we'll look at who's actually on that list and how they are ranked by Airbnb. Many co hosts aren't just small time helpers. Some manage dozens or even 150 listings, functioning as property managers under friendly co host label. Airbnb ranks these co hosts by factors like guest reviews, location, and engagement, giving higher visibility to those with strong ratings and active profiles. Positioning yourself as a co host could help you bypass restrictions, keep listings under individual names, and expand into regulated markets. Let's dive in to see if the co host network could be a growth channel for you. Let's start with what the co host network is. Airbnb's co host network is a way for property owners to connect with local, experienced co hosts who can take on different hosting tasks. Right within the Airbnb app or website, owners can find, choose, and hire co hosts, making it easy to get help without juggling extra tools. These co hosts often have high ratings, solid experience, and low cancellation rates, so they are familiar with what it takes to host successfully. Owners can choose the type of support they need, whether it's listing creation, photography, booking management, or guest communication. The platform includes built in collaboration tools like messaging, calendar access, payout options to keep everything running smoothly in one place. Co hosts can even adapt their approach to meet the specific needs of each property. So, the co host network offers a practical way for owners to find reliable, local help and streamline their hosting, all through Airbnb setup. Currently, the co host network has more than 10,000 co hosts across 10 countries, including the US, Canada, the UK, France, and Australia. Airbnb is aiming at making global even further by 2025. So, who are these co hosts? Let's have a look by exploring an option. I'm going to hit here, find a co host. I'm going to enter an address such as this one. I'm entering here an address in Paris for our demo because the service is available in Paris and has been for a while. And let's have a look at these co hosts. When you look at them, many are not small independent hosts. Some manage 47, 57, 59, 62, 129 listings. They are actually property managers running operations with dozens or even hundreds of listings. So it's not just individual co hosts. Airbnb is including larger property management companies in this network, despite their message of promoting local, hands on service. And you can see that the top co hosts are for this property, this address, are ranked in certain order and by criteria. For example, here you have the top overall. I can rank them for some services like listing setup, managing bookings, on site support, and cleaning. Apparently, the ratings didn't change too much, but what I can even see basically for each of them, for example, what kind of rating they get for cleaning. For example, this 1.4.83, 4.92, whereas overview They had 489, 47. So, how does the ranking work? Well, here's the lowdown. The co-host network uses an algorithm, of course, to match hosts with co-hosts that best fit their needs. It considers a big few factors. Quality first. Co-hosts with higher ratings and reviews, especially on the types of listings they manage, rank higher. Basically, if a co-host consistently delivers top-notch service, they're going to be more visible. Engagement counts as well. Profiles that get a lot of attention, like frequent views from hosts, are also likely to rank higher. Airbnb sees this as a signal that they are in demand. Location. Co-hosts closer to the search location pop up higher in results. So if you're looking for someone nearby, they'll prioritize these options. Last, host profile and listing info. Airbnb also checks out the host profile, their past listings, superhost status, and listing type. All of this help the algorithm rank and find the best co-host match. So why did Airbnb create the co-host network? Well, first there's a need. According to Airbnb, 40% of hosts surveyed said they would host more if they had some help. That's a big driver here. Airbnb wants to make it easier for people to rent out their properties. That's the strategic angle. Actually, Airbnb has been pushing for more listings as part of its 2023 and 2024 strategy with a pillar called making hosting mainstream. Making hosting mainstream. Basically, Airbnb wants to make it popular to host, just as easy to book a stay on Airbnb, right? So the goal is to have more listings, also to have more availability for existing listings. They want also probably to reduce churn, right? People dropping out of Airbnb because it's actually very hard to be a great host, as we know. Um, there's also a platform play here. Much like Amazon or Etsy allow people to build businesses on their platforms, Airbnb is opening its doors for entrepreneurs, not just to list properties, but even to create property management businesses on top of the platform. It's not new, right? A lot of people have launched their business using Airbnb as a marketing tool, for example. But here, the idea is really to give tools so that the business can live on top of Airbnb. It's a smart move to build loyalty, not only to have exclusive listings, for example, but probably as well to create more dependence on some property managers who may rely even more for the business on Airbnb. Last thing, um, could be subtle, but let's see if it works out. Let me know. Um, it's about keeping the local host vibe alive. So when counting listings, properties with the co-host setup would probably still look like they are run by individual owners. Sometimes we look at Airbnb, we wonder, okay, how many actually are run by a host versus by property management companies? Well, if you are a property, owned by, run by officially a host, but managed by a co-host, probably this listing is still counted as individual in the data that Airbnb is sharing, for example, with the local authorities. In this case, the listing stays in the owner's name, while the co-host handles the day-to-day work. This way, Airbnb can keep the appearance of local hosting, showing listings that are run by individuals, even though a company is actually running the business. In some cases, it may actually be good because it's helping with a story that it's not businesses on the platform, it's really hosts doing things. And in some cases, don't quote me on this, I've seen some property managers indeed kind of hiding behind his co-host status to run businesses in some instances where it can be tricky to have some licenses, for example. So I'm not saying that is pushing to do illegal things, right? Because actually Airbnb is very clear that any co-host should completely be have the right licenses and so on, right? It's very important. Well, I'm just saying that it's at some point when you present the data on who's an individual and who's a business, that can help. Um, this is true unless you're in the EU. For example, in the EU, by law, um, It has to be very clear whether you're booking with an individual or a business. So that doesn't really stand in the EU, but probably more in the US, where the consumer law is a bit different. Now, is the co-host network actually new? Well, yes and no, right? The name is new, co-host network, right? Airbnb has been testing a co-host marketplace for several years, starting with the technology and insights from the French property management company Lucky Homes it acquired back in 2018. The concept has been live in France for at least 3 years. What's really new is the rebranding of the co-host network and a refreshed interface, making it more visible and accessible. On top of it, being included obviously in the winter 2024 Airbnb release, which signals that the product is ready and will be deployed globally in 2025. So if you're interested in how to become a co-host, well, click quickly. First, you can find this on Amity's website, but to tell you, you must, for instance, have a guest rating of at least 4.8. You need to have hosted a minimum 10 stays or 100 plus nights in the past year. Your cancellation rate should be under 3%, and your ID should be verified. What's interesting again, in the US, you should not put a company name as your co-host name. They really want a first name, last name, or first name, right? They really want to keep that, hey, that's a local host vibe thing. Whereas in Europe, actually, because of law, and the law requires you to know whether you're booking with business or not, you can put your name out there. So think about this in terms of branding. So overall, is it a threat or an opportunity for us, for property managers? Well, yes, on one hand, can be seen as a threat. It's still very small, right? But the network does increase the competition for vacation rental managers. Airbnb is encouraging small operators who may have low costs and who can potentially drive down margins. Plus, if property managers choose to rely heavily on Airbnb's platform, they risk becoming dependent on it with less control over the business. But on the other hand, this network also opens a new channel for leads. Well, it's been quite a while, right? That you can actually Airbnb has, let property managers or find new leads, where whether it was already helping them just list on the platform and it's even running the whole business. Uh, so if do have a high, if you basically do great on Airbnb right now and can make it, it's an opportunity to get leads. Obviously, maybe at a very low cost. Um, what needs to be seen is whether in a contract you can also advertise this listing or not on different networks. But that could be a sweet way to advertise your service. You don't necessarily need to lower your commission, but it really has to a lot making sure you differentiate yourself and we are very clear about who you want, who you don't want, and where you can do that justifies your commission. So, in conclusion, what we're seeing that Airbnb is playing to its strength in two big ways. First, Airbnb is tapping into the entrepreneurial energy of property owners and managers. They are giving people the tools to grow their business on Airbnb, which, let's be real, ultimately brings more value back to Airbnb itself. It's a great platform play. The more successful you are on their platform, the more Airbnb benefits. Second, there's a classic Airbnb PR spin here. They're promoting the idea of small local hosts offering unique neighborhood experiences. But if you dig a little deeper, a big chunk of the listings are actually managed by professional property managers and always have been, probably will be. These managers are just presented under a new label as your friendly neighborhood co host. It's a smart way for Airbnb to keep that local small host feel while still relying on the consistency and scale that property managers bring.